Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet two of the driving forces behind Plano Flags of Honor. It's one of the most soulful and patriotic tributes in North Texas. Their incredible story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I gave about a decade of my life to Rotary. It's an amazing philanthropic organization, dates back to the early 1900s in Chicago, and they do so many good things on this planet. But one of the most amazing things that I've witnessed is the Plano Flags of Honor effort. And joining us right now are two of the leaders behind that, Ean Sullivan and Lisa Bloomer. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
So, Ean, let's you and I go back more than a decade, because I remember you were our proud district governor in the early, 2013,
Yeah.
and you served our district so well. Tell us about the beginnings of Plano Flags of Honor.
It was about 10 years ago. I had gone to an international convention in Sydney, Australia, and I had met this man, and we became friends, and we were sharing stories about Rotary, and he told me about the event that they do in California, and it was called the Flags of Honor. And the way he described it, it just implanted in my brain that I knew exactly where we needed to do the same thing, where we needed to plant flags at the same place where the Plano Balloon Festival launches all their balloons from. It's a beautiful field that's open, and I envisioned having, initially, my vision was 5,000 flags. We haven't quite got there yet. We will. I haven't given up on it. But we have 1,111 flags. They're all 3x5 full-size American flags that are all placed on 10-foot spacing, all laid out by a surveyor, so they're all done what I call military precision. And that vision, I came back and I've shared it with Rotary, and the members of my Rotary Club made that vision a reality. And as people have gotten exposed to this reality, they have embraced it as their own. Lisa is a prime example.
Yes.
That when she got exposed to it, it grabbed a hold of her and it won't let go.
Well, you teased that up perfectly. So, Lisa, how did you get exposed to this?
Well, thank you, Ian. I was coming to help take the flags down. I had not been involved in the overall effort up until that point, and I just drove over the hill and I saw that 1,000 flags flying in the wind and just said, oh my gosh, more people have to see this. More people need to know about it. And then I got involved the very next year, and I think we have doubled in size each year just about since then. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say, Ian?
Beautiful. Well, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So let's pull up the website. And as we scroll down the website, tell us about the experience of going out and walking among the flags. Ian?
It depends on the time of day, because every time of day is a little bit different. If you go out early in the morning when the breeze is real light, it'll be silence. And you can walk through the field and you experience all of the splendor of the visual of it, but also on each flag, there's an honorarium that is honoring a particular veteran or first responder. It's their story, their picture, their honors. And in that early morning time, it's quiet and it's almost solemn. Later in the day, the breeze will have picked up, and when you walk through the flags, you'll hear the tinkling of the dog tags that are rustling against the pole. You'll still see the same honorariums, but they're floating in the wind.
Yes.
You'll have to actually pick them, hold them to be able to read them. And at every time, as you walk through the field, because of that military precision that the flags are laid out on, as you're walking, the diagonals just seem to pop into place. Every time I do it, it just gives me, just kind of takes my breath away for a second. Because that sense of awe.
Yes.
And then in the evening, again, the light is dimmed. We've just retired the large flag. We've played taps. Taps always tears me up. As a veteran, I mean, it has a special place in my heart. But then again, in that twilight of being able to, you're seeing people wandering through the field, reading those honorariums, some of them with a tear in their eye. It never gets old. That's why we do this.
Yes, amen. And thank you for this amazing tribute to our veterans and first responders. We found a great video that was done by CBS 11 not too long ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, the federal holiday to honor our military veterans from this nation. There are dozens of events and tributes planned across North Texas where you can show your respect. That includes one display in Plano with a very deep meaning, we're told. Our Don White with more.
A sea of 1,111 flags line Oak Point Park in Plano.
Veterans Day is always on November 11th. We chose 11/11 just to commemorate that.
Plano East Rotary Club President Ean Sullivan says Plano Flags of Honor is a visual tribute to our nation's heroes who have given so much for the freedom we all enjoy.
I see the hundreds of people that walk through and come out with a tear in their eye, and they stop and they tell you about their loved one and what they served or what they did.
Each flag has a card like this one that tells the story of an active duty military member, veteran, or first responder. And for those who have served our country, they say the recognition means so much.
Gives me honor for pride in the sense of no matter once I'm gone, that my children will always remember my services, especially being a Marine.
People can go to a tent at Flags of Honor full of activities and tributes, including the Note to Heroes station.
Anybody who walks in can draw a picture, write a letter, whatever they would like to do to send to a veteran. We will send these overseas.
Plano Flags of Honor and events honoring veterans runs through next Sunday, November 17th.
We're trying to promote patriotism, make people remember the people that sacrificed for us.
A sacrifice never forgotten, and a tribute capturing the hearts of those who walk through these rows of flags. In Plano, Don White, CBS News, Texas.
Wow, what a beautiful piece. Lisa, you were telling us a story right before we began this broadcast about a person who showed up and wanted to hear taps.
Right. Yeah, every year there's a special story that always just grabs me and makes everything we do out there so much more meaningful and, reminds me why we do it. A young man and his wife and parents had shown up. It had been advertised that we were doing taps every day, but in honesty, we only do it on the days that we actually advertise it. And so there was no taps that evening, and he had shown up because that day had a specific meaning to him. It was very important, and when he found out we weren't doing taps, you could tell he was extremely disappointed and upset. So we put the flag back up, and I got in my Jeep. I drove it over to the field and found pre-recorded taps and played it through the speakers, and we were able to retire the flag for him that evening.
That's so beautiful. Okay, Ian, I want you to piggyback on that. I mean, think about the dedication, and it would have been easy enough for Lisa to say, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah, that tells that there are so many stories within that story. Because I had already left the field at that point. I'm the AV guy, for the flags, and she asked me about how we could do that. And so we're over the phone. We're putting our heads together, and it's like, okay, well, I can get the pre-recorded taps. That's no problem. But it's broadcasting it. So they said, well, okay, Lisa, your Jeep has Bluetooth. So she did it off her phone on the Bluetooth of her car.
I did.
That's this.
I did it. You can open up the tops and the doors and everything, and we can play it pretty loud.
Oh, very, very resourceful. I know this is a volunteer organization, so there needs to be a call to action. What do you guys need more than anything else? Do you need people to pick up and put down the flags, and what do you need?
We need it all, but we actually have a really good core group of volunteers. It takes over 400 volunteer hours to do this event.
Wow.
The things that we probably need the most is probably getting people on committees and planning as this thing continues to grow. We will never say no to volunteers out at the field. We typically have a good crew on the weekends. It's during the week that we don't have as many people show up because they're working. But
Sure.
What else do you think, Ian?
Well, that's it. And we have formed a new organization that's taking over the operation of the Flags of Honor. It's called the Rotary Community Corps of Plano.
Okay.
And that entity is in its formation stage right now. And so we're looking for people that want to get involved. And that getting involved can be as little as coming out and helping serve food to the volunteers.
Sure.
Or it could be serving on a committee and shadowing Lisa, as the event chair, so that you can take over the job next year.
Yeah.
We're looking for all types of
Yes, and financial donations, of course, because at some point you have to replace the flags or add new flags. How many new flags do you typically add each year or have to replace?
We typically add about 100 new flags or order at least 100 new flags every year. This year it'll be closer to 200. We've got to purchase at least about 100 new poles and mounts. Those are pretty expensive, but it's just other things that we continue to add, like we're doing a Medal of Honor row or circle to honor the Medal of Honor recipients from the state of Texas. We're going to create a display with trusses and banners that honor the fallen heroes of Collin County.
Wow.
Some things like that. So every time we add things like that, yes, there's a financial impact.
And Ian, you were saying it's not just the American flag. You have a number of different flags.
We have all of each service has their own flag.
Sure.
And so we have one row that has all of the branches of service, including the Space Force. That was the most recent addition.
Right.
Outstanding. We've got a couple minutes left, so I want you guys to look into your camera and give some final thoughts. Why don't we're going to start with Ian, and then we'll end with you, Lisa. Final thoughts.
The Plano Flags of Honor is probably the most meaningful thing that I have done in my life. It will outlast me forever, and that's really what we're trying to do right now, is to build that foundation so we can pass it off to another generation. This is, as a veteran myself, I'm a Vietnam combat veteran. So whenever I see that flag, it means something to me. And I want that same feeling to be passed along so that every veteran that comes home knows that their sacrifice is being honored. And that's the Plano Flags of Honor for me.
Wow. Lisa, it's hard to top that.
It is hard to top that. I guess what I'm trying to do with that is get more children involved, get them to learn more about the program, learn more about veterans and service. We've got one of our elementary schools does artwork and writes notes to veterans for us that we display during the event, but we have that note to Hero Station. So they can write notes that we can send overseas to say thank you. And definitely trying to get the younger generation to have more of an appreciation of what it means to serve.
Amen. Well,
and one last thing, kind of tie this back to Rotary, is Rotary's motto is service above self, and that is exactly what our veterans and first responders do.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom and your passion with us, and this amazing tribute that will go on for decades to come. We're going to end with the website so you can get in touch and volunteer or donate. It's planoflagsoфhonor.com. Ean and Lisa, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for having us.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.